All right, let's dive in. Today we're journeying back in time to explore the Moors in Spain.
A period bursting with cultural exchange and advancements, even a little palace intrigue.
Exactly. And you brought us a 1910 book called Moors in Spain by M. Florian.
A great primary source.
It is. And in this deep dive, we'll extract those fascinating nuggets.
So you can grasp how the Moors shaped Spain and, frankly, a good chunk of Europe.
So who exactly were the Moors?
Well, they originated from Mauritania in North Africa.
Okay.
Their early history, it's like a who's who of empires.
Really?
Carthaginians, Romans, Vandals, even the Greeks.
Wow, sounds like a chaotic time.
It was. Then came the Arabs.
Okay.
Shared origins and language led to close ties.
I see.
And eventually, the Moors embraced Islam and expanded their reach. Which brings us to Spain.
Spain. And their conquest in the 8th century was pretty rapid, right?
Exactly. But not without resistance.
Oh.
Figures like Pelagius led insurrections, showing the Moors didn't just waltz in.
So they fought back.
They did. Some historians argue that the Moors' success wasn't just military might.
Interesting. So what other factors paved the way for them?
Well, early Moorish leaders like Elzima focused on building a stable and prosperous society.
Makes sense.
The idea was a content populace is less likely to rebel.
A classic carrot and stick approach.
You could say that, but their expansion wasn't unchecked. Which brings us to the Battle of Tours.
Ah, yes, the Battle of Tours.
In 733 AD, where Charles Martel stopped their advance into Europe.
Right.
Historians cite a staggering number of Moorish casualties, something like 300,000. Probably exaggerated, though.
Even if it's exaggerated, it shows the significance of this clash.
Absolutely.
But they still held a large portion of Spain afterwards, right?
They did. And that leads us to the Golden Age of Al-Andalus.
Right.
In 759 AD, Abduramus I, a descendant of the Umayyad Caliphate, established a new caliphate in Córdoba.
Abduramus I. Was he just a warrior, or was there more to him? How did this golden age even come about?
He was more than a conqueror, a patron of the arts, a shrewd ruler, laid the groundwork for peace and cultural flourishing. Think schools for astronomy, math, medicine, literature. Cordova became a vibrant hub.
Like the Silicon Valley of its time. But I recall something about a lavish palace and a not-so-happy caliph. What's the story there?
You're thinking of the Palace of Zara, built by Abduramus III, a later caliph, for his favorite concubine.
Okay.
It cost an astronomical sum, about 300,000 gold dinars annually.
Wow.
And took 25 years to complete. Yet, despite the opulence, Abduramus III himself admitted to finding true happiness on only 14 days during his 50-year reign.
That's incredible. It's an incredible golden age, but a sense of disillusionment at the top.
It is fascinating.
Makes you wonder, could this lavishness, even while the caliph wasn't happy, have played a role in their later decline?
It's a thought-provoking idea, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. The Moors' achievements weren't just about opulent palaces. Their contributions to agriculture, medicine, commerce, the arts, all substantial.
They were a sophisticated society, thriving in so many areas. What kind of revenues did all these economic activities generate?
It was impressive. Sophisticated irrigation systems that transformed agriculture, particularly in arid southern Spain.
Interesting.
And mastery of trade brought in vast wealth from across the Mediterranean.
And their medical expertise was pretty renowned too, right? I vaguely recall something about a Christian king seeking treatment from Moorish physicians.
That's right. Even Alfonso the Great entrusted his own son's care to Moorish physicians.
Wow.
Speaks volumes about their reputation and the advancements they made in medicine.
Okay, so we have this picture of a vibrant, flourishing society. But it begs the question, what led to their decline? Was it external pressure, or were there internal factors as well?
Welcome back to our deep dive into the Moors in Spain. Last time, we traced their journey from those early conquests to establishing a flourishing society. We even touched on their eventual decline.
And as we explore more of this golden age, it's important to remember this wasn't just constant, uninterrupted progress. Right. History's rarely a straight line.
Exactly.
But what I find fascinating is the impact the Moors had on intellectual and scientific thought in Europe. It was the Dark Ages in Europe, but Al-Andalus was a beacon of knowledge. How did these worlds collide? What impact did that have?
The Moors bridged the gap between ancient knowledge and a Europe on the cusp of the Renaissance. Their scholars didn't just preserve Greek and Roman texts.
They didn't.
No, they translated them. studied them, expanded upon them, adding their own insights and innovations.
So, like the ultimate knowledge curators.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
They kept that flame alive and passed the torch.
Yes.
What's a specific example of that knowledge transfer?
Take astronomy. The Moors, they were avid stargazers. They built observatories charting the movements of celestial bodies and developed sophisticated astronomical models.
Wow.
One notable figure, Arzachel, created a model of the solar system that heavily influenced later European astronomers.
Amazing. They were unraveling these mysteries centuries ago.
They were.
Did their work in astronomy have practical applications?
Of course. Think navigation.
Yeah.
Accurate astronomical observations were essential for seafaring, and that knowledge had a direct impact on European exploration and trade routes.
So their work in the stars helped Europeans navigate the seas and expand their horizons.
Exactly.
What about other areas, like medicine? What did the Moors contribute there?
Moorish physicians were highly respected throughout Europe. They emphasized a holistic approach to healing, combining observation, experimentation, and a deep understanding of the human body.
Interesting.
Established hospitals, wrote influential texts, and even performed complex surgeries. Names like Averroes and Avenzoar, they became synonymous with medical brilliance.
Averroes, the physician, philosopher, and lawyer, all in one,
Right.
like the Renaissance man before the Renaissance.
Exactly. A fantastic example of their intellectual breadth and depth. His commentaries on Aristotle were widely studied in European universities, shaping both philosophical and scientific discourse for centuries.
It's mind-blowing how ideas nurtured in Al-Andalus cross borders and influenced some of the greatest minds in European history.
It really is.
It challenges the whole notion of a dark ages in Europe, doesn't it?
It does. It highlights the interconnectedness of knowledge, how ideas, once they're out there, can transcend boundaries. It also reminds us that progress isn't always linear.
Right.
While Europe might have been experiencing a lull, other parts of the world were flourishing.
And the Moors weren't just influencing astronomy and medicine.
Right.
They made significant strides in mathematics as well.
Absolutely. Their most impactful contribution was probably introducing the concept of zero into the European mathematical system.
Wait, zero?
Yes.
We take it for granted now, but that must have been revolutionary back then. How did that even happen?
Imagine trying to do complex calculations without zero.
Right.
It was a game changer for arithmetic.
It must have been.
Opened up new possibilities in mathematics.
Did this knowledge spread to Europe through a deliberate effort, or was it more organic?
A bit of both, actually. There were scholars and translators actively working to spread knowledge, but trade played a big role, too.
Of course.
Merchants, travelers, diplomats, they all interacted, exchanging goods and, along with them, ideas.
Ancient networking.
You could say that. It's amazing how these everyday interactions can spark intellectual revolutions.
It's true. It shows that the spread of knowledge can be messy and unpredictable.
It is.
It's not always about grand pronouncements or institutions. Sometimes it's the quiet exchange on a trade route that changes history.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got astronomy, medicine, math, all incredibly important.
They are.
What other areas did the Moors leave their mark on?
Well, their influence went beyond those fields. They were skilled engineers, developed innovative irrigation systems, and their architectural prowess is evident in structures like the Alhambra, which blend beauty and function.
The Alhambra. Those intricate water features, they weren't just decorative, were they?
Not at all. Part of a sophisticated water management system, ensuring a constant supply of fresh water for the palace and gardens.
It's like they had a built-in AC and plumbing system centuries ahead of their time.
They were masters at adapting to their environment, using knowledge to create sustainable and aesthetically pleasing solutions.
And speaking of aesthetics, we can't forget their contributions to art and music.
Right.
They had a reputation for exquisite craftsmanship, didn't they?
They did. Moorish artisans excelled in textiles, ceramics, metalwork, everything. They created objects of incredible beauty and intricate detail.
That attention to detail, that craftsmanship, sets them apart.
Yes.
And their music, how did that influence Spain?
Their musical traditions blended Arabic influences with local Spanish styles,
Interesting.
creating a rich, vibrant soundscape. That fusion of ideas contributed to the diverse tapestry of Iberian music that we still enjoy today.
So it's not just about advancements or feats of engineering.
No.
It's about a broader cultural influence that permeated Spanish society.
Exactly. A fusion of knowledge, traditions, aesthetics, creating a unique blend that still defines Spain's identity.
This has been an incredible journey. We've seen the rise of this powerful, sophisticated society.
They have.
Explored their contributions, and even touched on those complexities and challenges they faced.
Yes.
But we're not done yet.
No, we're not.
In the final part, we'll explore the Moorish legacy and the challenges and controversies that arose during their rule.
And we'll look at how their presence continues to shape Spain today, prompting you to consider the lasting impact of this fascinating chapter in history.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've explored the rise and fall of the Moors in Spain, their contributions to science and culture.
We have.
We even touched on those internal conflicts and anxieties that simmered beneath their golden age. But as with any complex historical period, there's always more to uncover.
That's true.
History is rarely black and white.
Right.
What were some of those challenges and controversies that arose during their time in Spain?
Well, the religious and cultural differences between the Moors, primarily Muslim, and the existing Christian population led to some friction.
Makes sense.
There were periods of tolerance and coexistence,
Yeah.
but also times of, persecution and forced conversions. It wasn't always harmonious.
It's a reminder that even in societies known for advancements, those human complexities and flaws still exist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Were there any specific events or policies that stand out as particularly controversial?
One example is the Mozarab community. Christians living under Moorish rule.
Okay.
They adopted some aspects of Arabic culture while maintaining their Christian faith.
Interesting.
That unique position often led to suspicion and discrimination from both sides.
It sounds like a difficult situation to be in, caught between two worlds.
It was.
What about the internal politics within the Moorish kingdoms themselves? Was it always stable and unified?
Not always. We talked about the fragmentation of the caliphate. Those internal divisions often erupted into power struggles, rivalries, even violence.
Right.
Remember Abduramis III and the Palace of Zara? That lavish spending.
I do.
It sparked resentment and probably contributed to the instability.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely, as they say.
It seems that way.
So even during their golden age, there were cracks. As their power waned, did these internal conflicts contribute to their eventual downfall?
I think so. Internal divisions weaken any society, making it vulnerable to external pressures. The Christian kingdoms in the north were able to capitalize on these struggles, gradually pushing south.
A house divided against itself cannot stand.
That's a good way to put it.
But even as their political power waned, their cultural influence remained strong, right? What are some examples of that?
Absolutely. Their artistic and architectural styles continue to influence Spanish design. Take the Mudéjar style, for example. It blends Islamic and Christian elements. It emerged during the later period of Moorish rule and continued to flourish even after they were expelled.
Fascinating how art and architecture can reflect those complex cultural interactions.
It is, and it's not just architecture. The Moorish influence can be seen in Spanish cuisine, music, language.
Yeah.
It's woven into the very fabric of Spanish culture.
As we wrap up, what's the most important thing for our listener to understand about the Moorish legacy in Spain?
I'd say it's about embracing the nuances, recognizing that history is rarely simple or one-sided.
Right.
The Moorish presence was complex, brilliance in conflict, progress and tension. A story of cultural exchange, innovation, and adaptation, but also power struggles and the clash of ideologies.
It's a reminder that studying history isn't just about dates and battles.
It's not.
It's about grappling with those messy realities of human interaction across cultures and time.
Exactly.
It's about acknowledging the contributions of different civilizations.
Right.
Appreciating how those exchanges of ideas, even amidst conflict, have enriched our world and shaped history.
I agree.
This has been an incredible journey. From North Africa to Córdoba, from the Alhambra to the fall of Granada, we've covered centuries of history, unpacked complex ideas, hopefully sparked your curiosity to learn even more.
I hope so.
As we leave you, consider this. How do you see the Moorish influence in Spain today? In the architecture, the food, the music, the people?
Keep digging, keep questioning, and keep discovering those hidden layers of history.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of the Moors in Spain. Until next time, keep exploring.